Hello and welcome to Dr. VGP Talk Show. Hello and welcome to Dr. VGP Talk Show that reaches 42 million households, including 2 million households across America. In our Dr. VGP Talk Show, we are featuring an amazing story of rags to riches. A person born in Belgaum, Karnataka, a city in southern part of India, who has seen abject poverty, who worked as a janitor when he was 14 years old to make his siblings and his mother put food on the table. Today, he is after being an accomplished, successful businessman, which made him, thanks to the American dream, he is the freshman congressman of the 13th Congressional District, Shri Thanedar. Listen to this amazing talk show where you hear about what he has done as a child, how he was denied a US student visa, not once, not twice, not thrice, but 4 times. And on his 5th occasion, he was granted a US visa, which allowed him to do his PhD in University of Akron, Ohio. That's what is called tenacity, perseverance, and hard work. There's no substitute for. And I think it's a classic example of failure upon failure begets success. He is proven as an action-oriented champion of small businesses, serving on the House Homeland Security Committee, on the House Small Businesses Committee, and brought over $2 billion within 9 months of serving in the Congress for the city of Detroit. Watch this amazing episode and then get inspired to share the pride and celebrate life. Good afternoon and welcome to Dr. VGP Talk Show that reaches 42 million households, including 2 million households across America. We are here today at the home of a business magnate who's today the freshman Congress in the 118th US Congress, representing the 13th Congressional District of Michigan, Congressman Shri Thanedar. Welcome to Dr. VGP Show.
Thank you, Dr. VGP.
Right. Congressman Shri Thanedar has his beginnings. He's a Maharashtrian from India, born in Belgaum in the state of Karnataka. And his father was a clerk in the court system in Belgaum, and he went to college engineering, and he did his PhD in chemistry and developed one of the largest pharmaceutical development innovation business. And from there, we're going to listen to what all and how much he has achieved as a creative innovator, now serving the people of Michigan. Congressman Shri, we are living in an exciting era, not only of development, at the same time, a challenging era with the Israel and Hamas, the crisis there, Ukraine and Russia. You're representing the people of the 13th Congressional District. Tell us, what are the constituents of your district, of the 13th Congressional District?
Well, I have a large population of African Americans.
Great.
I'm very proud to represent the city of Detroit, which is 78% African American.
Wow.
And, this is a great city. It's one of the greatest cities in America. The city has come from a long way, from its bankruptcy in 2013 to a very, very successful and prosperous downtown Detroit now. I represent not only the city of Detroit, but Grosse Pointe, Hamtramck, Highland Park, and Romulus, as well as the downriver communities.
Great. So you've been a resident of Detroit for how long, Congressman?
Oh, about 5 years now.
5 years. Great. And what has been your initial thrust for the 13th Congressional District?
Yeah. Well, look, growing up in India, 24 years of my life I spent in India. Dire poverty. I lived in a home that had no running water.
Wow.
6 sisters, a brother. My father lost his job very early. So when I was 14 years old, I worked as a janitor to support my family. And because of public education, I was able to get a bachelor's degree and a master's degree in chemistry, and got an admission into a PhD program at University of Akron in Ohio. So this was back in 1979. And in those days, you have to go to the American consulate very early in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. I went there to get my student visa. And I was standing in line since 5 o'clock in the morning. My number was called at 11 a.m. The counselor interviewed me, and after 10 minutes of interview, she said, "Mr. Thanedar, I cannot give you a student visa."
My God.
So it broke my heart. I fell down to the ground. I lost consciousness. I was just so heartbroken.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, you took it really to your heart.
Yeah. And then this counselor, her name is Virginia, she comes out of her window now, stands next to me, and I opened my eyes, I looked up, and there she was with a glass of water, but no visa. And thereafter, then you're allowed to reapply for a visa. So second time, I give more documents. She promptly rejects my visa for the second time. Third time, I even gave her more documents. She rejects.
This was in the consulate of Bombay?
This was the consulate of Bombay in 1979. So she rejects my visa 4 times.
My God.
And 5th time, I had nothing new to give. So I took the same papers she rejected the 4th time and resubmitted it for the 5th time. And in the evening, when I went to the consulate, they said, "I need your passport." I said, "Why do you need my passport?" They said, "We can't give you a visa without a passport."
Okay.
And I asked them, "Did Miss Virginia change her mind?" And they said, no, she's gone to America for vacation.
Praise the Lord.
And somebody else looked at your papers.
Okay.
Came to America, got a PhD in chemistry, worked as a chemist. In those days, when I worked on my PhD, they would give me $300 a month.
So as a stipend?
As a stipend, because I was a teaching assistant. And I would take $75 out of that, send it home to Belgaum, where my mother lived, so that she could put food on the table. After my PhD, worked as a chemist. Then I wanted to be on my own. So I bought a little lab, 3-person lab. The owner wanted to retire. And I bought that lab for $75,000, mainly through a loan from a bank. and started my business. And that business grew to about 500 people.
Wow.
In 2008.
Great. What an incredible story you just shared with us, Congressman Shri. An amazing rags to riches story from abject poverty, for rejected the US student visa on 4 occasions, and your persistentness, your tenacity to progress, to study and come and do your PhD here. And then you're venturing out on your own shows your great spirit of innovation and self-achievement, I would call it, which is so true today. And that's what, when we talk to your residents in the congressional district, we ask them, what do you think of Congressman Shri Thanedar? They said he is for economic empowerment. He's trying to make a difference in our lives by being a pro-worker and also lifting the marginalized communities of Black and Brown. And he's trying to create opportunities for us. And he's trying to improve the mental health system. This is what your constituents are telling us.
That's true. So look, having grown up in poverty, I understand the struggles. I understand the struggles that working families have, people living from paycheck to paycheck. Today, essential goods, grocery bills have been almost doubled. Cost of living has increased so much that people are living from paycheck to paycheck are finding it very difficult to put food on the table, to take care of their families' healthcare needs. Today, 26 million people are out of healthcare. And my focus is to ensure that every person in America has the health care he or she needs. We need to create opportunities for people, especially marginalized people, people who have been denied the American dream. The access to American dream is very important. I serve on the small business committees. And through the small business committees, I'm working on creating entrepreneurial opportunities, giving people loans, startup loans, capital to start their businesses, help people, encourage people to, get into business. Those who are in the business through the small business, through its loan program, through its grants,
through SBA,
trying to give them the facilities that they need, the loans that they need, the grants that they need. So I brought the small business administrator to Michigan, to Detroit. I took her to various small businesses, many small businesses owned by, African-American families. I talked to her about the difficulties of small businesses, how they have tough time navigating through the huge paperwork that they have to go through. And most small businesses don't have the manpower or the skills needed to go through all that paperwork. And I, urged her to make it more easier. So I introduced a bill. It's a bipartisan bill to make licensing easier, to make navigating through small business programs easier. So people can just go in there, enter their information in one spot, and they will know what kind of program they're qualified.
It's tremendous what you've done in a short while as a freshman congressman. Your action speaks louder than words. I mean, you really piloted a bipartisan bill, to make the whole process simpler, easier for the common man. I mean, that hats off to you. In centuries of the Congress being there, nobody has done that. And you had the initiative, I think, because you've been on the other side as a business, as a successful business giant, and now you want to see what's ailing the system. Where is the gap between the have and the have-nots? And you're making a difference, Congressman Shri. It's really great to know about the strides you're doing in SBA. And as a freshman congressman, you are serving on another important committee too.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
Well, I told you about my problems with getting a student visa in Mumbai.
Yes.
And then coming over here, I had issues with getting my green card, all of that. And then when I started my business, it was a technology business, and I hired many foreign-born graduates, and I had to work on their H-1B visas, their green cards. So I understand how broken our immigration system is. Now, look, America is a country of immigrants. A lot of immigrants and their contribution made us great country that we are today. But currently, our immigration system is broken. Many of the businesses aren't able to attract and retain skilled workforce because of our broken immigration system. So a lot of work I'm doing in Congress is to increase the H-1B visas. make it easier for people to be able to get their green cards, because getting a green card is taking 10, 15, 20 years.
Absolutely.
And it is becoming very, very stressful for many scientist, engineer families. Now what has happened is that Canada and Australia now is taking advantage of our broken immigration system. And many of the H-1B scientists, engineers are now going to Canada or Australia. We're losing, just in the last couple of years, we lost about 10,000 very skilled engineers and scientists to Australia and Canada.
And you so well said it about our US broken immigration system. And from your practical experience of your own hardships, you're a pro worker now, trying to make the system much easier. You introduced a bill and trying to work on that is something great for a freshman congressman. And I think you've also been endorsed, Congressman Shri, by the Indian Samosa Caucus of the 5 congressmen. You're the 5th Indian American congressman to be elected to the US House of Congress. I think Congressman Ro Khanna, Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy, Congressman Premila, and Congressman Amir Berry have all endorsed you for your re-election coming up in 2024, this year in August 6th. So that's great, because your action speaks louder than words, and how you're trying to make a change for empowerment of the small businesses, which is the very fabric of America, and also for the immigration reforms. And you're serving on 2 important and powerful committees today, the Homeland Security Committee as well as the Small Business Administration. Now, recently I was told that you brought over $2 billion into your 13th Congressional District. You were sworn in on January 2023, on January 3rd or 4th?
January 3rd, yeah.
3rd. So within nearly 10 months, and plus you bought some 13 million soft dollars through the congressional driven bill. So could you tell us and tell our viewers where and how you brought this money to what segments of the 13th Congressional District? I think this is historic. It's never been done before.
Yeah. Well, look, the way I look at my job is to improve the lives of the people I represent. Improving the quality of life of the people I represent is number one for me. And how do I improve the quality of life for people? Is to bring in federal dollars to the district, whether it is roads, replacing aging bridges. We haven't invested. America has not invested in our infrastructure. And because of the bipartisan infrastructure bill, federal money is now available. And as a result of that, we were able to bring about $2 billion to Michigan in terms of building bridges and roads and the aging water infrastructure, sewer infrastructure. I also had 15 community projects. Many of my communities have issues with flooding. And so we brought money to install relief valves. Some of my areas, like the city of Wayne, has lead pipes where the lead level is substantially higher. And it is important that people are able to get clean water, lead-free clean water. And we brought in about $5 million to replace those lead pipes. There is a number of other money we brought in to different communities, where 15 different grants totaling over $13 million. And we'll continue to do that. One of the things that I do is bring federal dollars.
I see in your mind, what a difference a scientific mind in a congressman can make a huge difference. You're not doing giveaways or cosmetic band-aid approaches to people's problems, but you're doing long-term visionary solutions. Like you're finding out the reasoning why floods are taking place, what's the water scarcity, which we all heard about Flint, Michigan. You're doing long-term solutions, and only a scientific mind like you with your experience can make that difference. I think the 13th Congressional District of Michigan are really fortunate to have a business magnate with vast experience, a chemist in his mind, who's looking at the community problems and trying to find a solution, not just giving out dole-outs and giveaways. And I think that's the essence of true community leadership, which makes a difference in everyday people's life, not just for this generation, but in the long run. I'm a Congressman Shri, we salute you on what you just told us, how practical And only a scientific, but I wouldn't think. I'm a public health physician. We just think of vaccination, immunization, and those type of things. But you are solving long-term projects, like you dealt with roads and bridges. Infrastructure is so important. And as you said, that you revived Michigan from the brink of bankruptcy in 2013. It used to be Detroit used to be the auto capital of the world.
That's right.
And is it still retaining that with electric cars?
Yeah, we have taken the leadership in electric vehicles. The mobility revolution is all starting here in Michigan, and I'm proud to represent Detroit, which is, Michigan put the world on wheels through its innovation in automobile, and that innovation continues. We are a very innovative society. As a scientist, I support that. It's also important that many of the people in Michigan, in Detroit, suffered over decades through systemic racism, and it is important that the marginalized communities, we fight racism. We bring opportunities, economic opportunities. We give our youth the motivation, the opportunities to succeed financially, be financially independent. And it all starts with early childhood education. It all starts with quality education for our children, because I believe that our children must get good education no matter what location they live in or what zip code they come from. Good education is essential.
There's no alternate for good education. That's the basic foundation. Congressman Shri, tell us, you were a successful millionaire heading a whole pharmaceutical empire. What made you give up that and come to a civic career? I wouldn't call it political career, where you're making a difference in every person's life. What made you do that?
Look, I grew up in poverty. I came to Michigan. I came to America with $20 in my pocket on a suitcase. And America has given me so much. I got so much opportunities in America. This is a great country. And, in 2016, I felt that, I have achieved my American dream. I got a lot of help. I work hard, and I achieved my American dream. But as I travel across America, as I travel across Michigan, in places, urban areas like Detroit, I see many people don't have access to their American dream. And I felt that it's important for me to go help others. This is my time to pay back. This is my time to give back to my community. And that, with that thought, I decided to give up my business. When I sold my business, I took some of the proceeds and distributed it to all of my employees.
Wow.
And
then true champion, sir. True champion.
And took some of that money and ran for governor. I did not succeed to be a governor of Michigan, but a state rep position opened up. So became a state rep in the Michigan House, served on the Appropriations Committee, bought a lot of dollars to the district for mental health services.
Excellent.
Brought about $650 million to rebuild a mental health hospital because, in my district, there are not enough psychiatric beds available for children. We brought mental health counseling, counselors in high schools so that children could have access to mental health counseling. And we also brought money to rebuild 5 different high schools from ground up.
You are on point. The public health experts after the COVID pandemic have predicted the biggest crisis for America is going to be not the wars, not the famine, not the floods, but mental health crisis in 2030. You're way ahead of the game.
Yeah.
As a state rep, Shri, you brought $650 million for the mental health and started a pediatric mental health facility in Michigan. I mean, that's simply outstanding. And then from state rep, you're serving Congress now. And I think you have said rightly, and I would like all our viewers to, Congressman Shri had used his own finances to finance his first congressional run, which he succeeded, spent over $1 million maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's all of us, community members across America, Black, brown, Hispanics, everybody, and the white folks to help we need to make a difference. Put $1 in for your re-election campaign coming on August 6th. He's having a primary. And that's important. He has done what he can do with his wealth, but we all have, if you want to have good leadership in this country, it comes down to the fundraising for every campaign. And I think you're busy right now, but it's very important to tell your story to the world.
Yes.
Because this will inspire a younger generations. You don't have to, and what I learned from you today, Congressman Shri, that even though you didn't have food on the table, you went at 14 years to work as a janitor.
Yeah.
Now, I'm so thankful that I didn't have to do it at 14 years. I had a rooftop and a thing, but you made your saga of sacrifice and struggle into super success today. And spreading that cheer is so important. Now, tell me, your innings as a freshman congressman may not have been a bed of roses all the time. There might be quite a few challenges in spite of all what you have done. And when Prime Minister Modi visited, you made a historic announcement of the first Hindu Congressional Caucus. We have heard of the Republican Hindu Caucus, which was organized sometime before. The first time, Hindu Congressional Caucus. Tell us about that, how it came about and what prompted you to do that.
Well, the focus really is religious freedom. You know, every person must be able to pray the God he or she wants to pray, love the person he or she wants to love. And that freedom is what, to me, is America. America is about freedom. America is about your ability to live the life that you want to live and live it with dignity, with respect. And that is why that prompted me to start that caucus. Economic freedom is important. Freedom to live your life the way you want to live is important. And creating opportunities, making economic opportunities available to all, not just the privileged. Having good education available to all, not just the privileged. Having health care, including not only physical health, but we must also focus on mental health. And access to mental health is just as important as access to physical health. So that is what motivates me. America has given me so much, and I want to pay back and help others, especially those that have been discriminated, that have been marginalized, whether it is systemic racism, whether it is poverty. I want to fight the poverty. I want to fight racism and bring economic justice.
You're doing that. You're doing that in every day of your tenure as a congressman. And tell our viewers what was the impact of Prime Minister Modi's recent state visit to Washington, D.C. in June? I know you were there. I was in Capitol. I saw you walking down the aisle, shaking hands with Prime Minister Modi. And then later on in the dinner, which was hosted by the Indian diaspora, led by Dr. Bharat Barai at the National Reagan Center, you were closeted with Prime Minister Modi with another congressman. Tell us, what was the real feeling? What did you get about what Prime Minister Modi is doing? And did he really embrace and strengthen his visit, the US-India relationship?
Well, India has come a long way. You know, when Prime Minister Modi first got elected, India was the 10th largest economy. Recently, it's been the 5th largest economy, soon to be the 3rd largest economy. So it is very, very important that United States and India have strong ties, strong relationship. And as a United States congressman of Indian origin, I am focusing a lot on building a stronger US-India relationship. I feel currently our relationship is not as strong as it needs to be. And India and US need to work together, collaborate in defense and in medicine and in technology, in every walks of life, that the two countries need to work hand in hand, and that would be beneficial to the people of both countries. It will create economic opportunities for both countries. And so I am so happy to have the friendship with Prime Minister Modi ji, and I want to work with him and continue to work with him. I took a delegation of congressional leaders to India recently, was at the Prime Minister's home, and we had long discussions about. and I will continue to work to make it stronger relationship between the United States and India.
Great. I mean, it's lovely to hear from first hand from Congressman Shri on the impact of Prime Minister Modi's visit to the United States. Coming back closer to home, do you think President Biden is doing a great, what type of a job is he doing in trying to resolve the Israel-Hamas crisis? And of course, the Ukraine-Russia war is looming large over us. And the third part of the same thing is what Chicago, New York is experiencing. I don't know much about Detroit. The migrant, I wouldn't say crisis, the migrant overflow into these sanctuary cities.
Oh, President Biden is doing a great job. You know, he's got 50 years of experience. So he knows he makes good decisions. His decision about the infrastructure law. He's signing the infrastructure law, the Inflation Reduction Act, lowering the cost of medicine. Under President Biden, insulin costs were capped at $35 a month, which would bring huge savings to our seniors. Currently, President Biden and the Congress is considering 20 different medicines, life-saving medicines, which cost very high cost, and is trying to negotiate pricing with Medicare, trying to negotiate pricing with pharmaceutical companies. That's going to be a game changer, making those medicine accessible for people with limited means. So there is a lot that getting done. Inflation is now under control. Prices are still too high, and there is more work that needs to be done. But President Biden has done remarkable work in fighting the climate crisis, lowering the prices, dealing with COVID, recovering from COVID, creating over 15 million jobs in America. There is just so much that has been done, and we look forward to continuing this progress under the leadership of President Biden.
You're giving us a great shining light leading us into the new year 2024 from what all you said about what President Biden is doing and what you personally are doing in the 13th Congressional District and fighting for the blue-collared workers, for the pro-workers in Washington, D.C. with your bipartisan bills which you're introducing, not only for small business administration, but also for the Homeland Security immigration reforms. How would you describe yourself in 3 words, Congressman? 3 adjectives.
Well, I grew up in poverty, so I understand the struggles of working families.
Okay.
And that's where I come from.
Okay. So would you say you're an advocate for working families?
Absolutely.
And
I'm
what
an
is the other
advocate
word?
for working family. I understand the struggles of people, everyday people.
Okay, great. If you had to take 3 people out for dinner from the past or the present, who would they be and why?
Well, I, really admired John Conyers, a civic leader. John Conyers was amazing.
He was a congressman
He was a
from the 13th
congressman from Detroit. I certainly love President Barack Obama. I had a chance to meet him twice.
Wow.
And also President Bill Clinton is my all-time favorite. I met him several times, and he's an amazing leader, amazing person. And I was very, very impressed with him.
Great. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
Well, I want to continue to serve Detroit and 13th Congressional District. I want to create opportunities. I want to see small businesses, entrepreneurship thriving in Detroit and in downriver areas. I want to deal with the issues of lead pipes, remove all of the lead pipes.
Very important.
Ensure that the people of 13th District get clean air, clean water. I want to fight environmental racism. I see a lot of environmental pollution that is creating health issues for young people in my district. And I want to ensure that corporations are, under check, and they cannot pollute and exceed pollution standards. So I want to ensure that the people of my district be able to breathe clean air, have access to clean water, have economic opportunities, and certainly good health care, and most importantly, education. Most importantly,
It's so surprising that you've already laid out the agenda for 2024 for the city of Detroit. You want to make Detroit the capital of entrepreneurship. Revive the Detroit, involve your major African American people into the mainstream by having a summit, I'm told you're going to have in 2024 for small business entrepreneurs. You're going to do an immigration reform summit for all across the country. You're going to do something for the women.
Yeah.
And I was told in the International Women's Day, you're planning to honor 20 women in a district towards terror examples because of your affection for your mother. And your mother has contributed a lot after your father passed to your success.
Yes.
And you're also wanting to do a mental health summit. So in fact, Congressman Shri Thanedar is going to make Detroit a capital of progress, a capital of prosperity, a people's capital of innovation and development. Congressman, in concluding, what's your message to the people at large for the new year 2024?
Well, we need to make America better for everybody. Access to economic opportunities, good health care, best possible education for our children. We need to, make life better for those at the bottom of the economic ladder. We need to close this gap between the rich and the ultra rich and the people at the bottom. The working families, the working class needs to provide, get the opportunities for economic development. That's my focus.
Great. Thank you so much, Congressman Shri Thanedar, for joining us today at the Dr. VGP Talk Show. Yeah. And let me tell you, folks, Detroit is in great hands. In the hands of Congressman Shri Thanedar, whose action is speaking louder than words, and he's making a difference to all his constituents. And we are so proud, and thank you so much, sir, for joining us on a short notice amidst your busy schedule. And we're sure 2024 is going to be the year of Shri Thanedar.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.